So do you want to intro this or should I?
I'll do the intro for it. Well, I think you introed the pictures last time. So, God, I forgot what we were doing for a moment there.
Fucking don't say that.
So, we decided to do like a 10 pitches for Secret Wars / Doomsday / the like MCU just in general, moving forward over the next few years. Like
mine's more focused on post, I think. You might have a bit more actual in those movies. Mine's more what I want to see after.
We've got 10 points each, and they'll be separated into 2 separate videos.
Some of these we've gone into detail on. Some of them I haven't really thought out, and I've wrote. He's probably thought out all of his. Mine I think I did half of these in about 2 minutes at work, and then just the last one I was like, no, I'm locking in on this one.
I think the important thing to note regarding the pitches is that like it's not what we think will happen.
It's just what we want.
We want to happen. So go for it.
So first, all right. So number one, I'm starting. Oh, you opened a can during the middle of my pitch. How could you? But so number one, I've gone with, and I'm getting this out of the way because I think it's the one that's most likely to happen.
Okay.
Which is a soft reboot to bring obviously the X-Men and the Fantastic Four into the main universe.
Yeah.
Like but I'm also saying like including some recasts of characters. I'm not sure who, but I think there's like we can get a few more years out of certain characters if there's someone else playing them.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying as in like they're the same. So like bringing a different version of 4 is like
so
the
you
example
want
I
like
wrote down.
Variants basically.
Sort of, yeah. Either like variants or like this might be because I'm a sucker for the character. Like maybe bringing like Beta Ray Bill to fill up like 4's role. I love Beta Ray, the big horse face 4.
I wasn't expecting that name.
but I've wrote down like a character maybe not to bring back. I've made a point on one of them of a specific character to bring back. For like this, though, like don't bring Thanos back. Because he's already had like the whole Infinity like saga dedicated to him.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to bring him back. But I made like a point.
Would you bring him back in Secret Wars?
I'd bring him back for that the iconic death scene.
Yeah.
That's it though. I wouldn't like dedicate any more movies to him.
Okay.
But my thinking is like bringing like new people in to play these roles. It freshens them up a bit, and like it gives like the actors who've played them previously, they can like end their like basically their shift and clock out with a job well done.
Yeah.
But. So, like, you could maybe do, like, the ultimate version of Thor, who's not necessarily an Asgardian god, or you don't know if he's an Asgardian god. You're not quite sure. There's, like, lots of things. And you could also, then that also allows you to retcon Wanda and Pietro to actually be mutants and the children of Magneto.
Yeah.
Rather than the weird thing that they've got going for them now. So that's my number one. I think that's the most likely to happen. So that's why it's at number one.
Yep.
Number 2, don't bring back Iron Man.
Oh!
Which I know a lot of people aren't going to agree, but I think my writing here is I think they've taken a lot of weight out of that character's death in Endgame by bringing RDJ back. I think if you keep him at least dead in canon. Now I'm not saying completely erase like the character. I mean like you can bring him back maybe as like the AI, but the character itself stays dead. So
not even like a multiversal variant.
No. Like just so that sacrifice still matters and he can stay gone. But you can bring in the AI one. Because that's still, but the character himself in universe is dead and had to die for Endgame to happen.
Yeah.
Now you gasped when I said that.
Because like since reading like a lot of the stuff post 2010, I know that they boosted up Iron Man in the comics significantly because of the film. I know that like obviously pre 2010, pre MCU, he wasn't that big of a deal, but reading like a lot of the Avengers Hickman stuff has made me very much appreciate him, and I read, like, Superior Iron Man. I haven't read Infamous yet. I know it's not Tony Stark, but it's still Iron Man.
Yeah.
I haven't read, like, Armor Wars or Devil in a Bottle or anything like that. But I feel like outside of, like, the MCU, Iron Man has such a rich history that they haven't even touched the surface. I feel like, in fact, they've wasted his trilogy. As good as his trilogy is, I think that they've wasted it.
Well, because like, they only slightly touched on is it Devil in the Bottle in number 2, but they don't really go far enough with it.
No, it's just really like heavily suggested, which I just feel like we should just commit to it and do it and show it, especially considering we've just come out of Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And the whole film is about like mental illness and trauma.
Yeah.
And like getting over that and like progressing forward, I feel like there's a lot more with Iron Man you can do.
That's fair, yeah. All right, so
fuck your pitch.
Okay then, it's out the window.
Fuck your pitch, and that's the end of the video.
So number 3 is a similar line. New Doom. So
Fair enough.
If the version we're getting in Doomsday is more existing for RDJ to come back, sign off the MCE,
the MCE,
the Marvel Cinematic Entertainment, but like to sign off the MCU and like like close the book on what we know as it now and going into a reboot world where like there's more canon and lore that's from the comics, then I think that lets us have a more like a proper version of Doom that's not just RDJ coming back to do that.
Yeah.
Like I think the version we're gonna get is going to be like it's gonna be like the Secret Wars version, but I still think there's room to do a proper Doom, like who's also a Fantastic Four villain, because that's where he came from, and I'd like to see that rivalry with Reed brought to the screen, because I don't think we're going to get a lot of that in Secret Wars. He's going to go straight in as an Avengers level threat.
I think we will. I agree with you up until that point. Like,
you think we're going to still see? I don't think it's. Yeah. I think that you can do a whole movie dedicated to the Fantastic Four versus
I
Doom
definitely
and
agree.
That rivalry.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see. I think it's going to be touched upon, but he's going to be more. He's going to go straight in as an Avengers level threat.
Who knows? He might be in the Fantastic Four film.
Maybe he could
as a supporting role and not just a cameo or an end credit scene.
Maybe he's what brings about the incursions. He explores the same amount of space that Reed does. Only he does something about it and causes an incursion.
We don't know, but time will tell. I do agree with you though that we need a new Doom.
Yeah, because I'm not going to say Mads Mikkelsen. I'm not going to say Mads Mikkelsen because that's who I wanted in the first place. And I think by the time we get to a new Doom, I think he's probably not going to want to do it anymore. But I do think you can do a more comic accurate Doom, maybe with a more. He's not European though, is he? Where's Latveria like located?
He's Romani.
You get a Romani actor in to play him and like do a really like proper comic accurate. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Right, point 4. Younger X-Men. Because I want to have
surprising.
I want a longer time with these characters. So if you're introducing like I've put them here mainly Nightcrawler, Gambit, Rogue, Jean, and Cyclops, and fuck it, Wolverine. But I've also put in brackets preferably the X-23. That I want them to bring her back full time as
Daphne
Wolverine.
Keane.
Yeah, I want her as just Wolverine. I'm basically wanting a younger cast so we get more time with the characters. You can do more movies with them, and they can have bigger roles in the universe, like for team up films. Because they're bringing back all the old ones, which is great for nostalgia and setting up different world that's going to collide with the main universe. Yeah, but they're not going to be sticking around for ages. They're going to probably do Doomsday, maybe do Secret Wars, and then I think that might be it. And I want these characters, which we're going to get, but I want specifically, because I want that to be the core team, because I think that's a good core team.
How would you feel about the second timeline characters? So you're talking McAvoy, Sophie Turner.
I wouldn't mind that, but I still think
you want a full fresh cast.
I think, full fresh cast, full clean slate, so there's no baggage from the previous universes. It's just, here's the X-Men, here's a new...
On a side note, because I don't go into it all in my pitch, do you think we're seeing the McAvoy X-Men in Secret Wars at all?
Maybe. There could be a chance, but I think because the McAvoy one is meant to be what's his name now? The guy who plays Charles Xavier from the X-Men.
Patrick Stewart.
It's meant to be the same character.
Yeah.
It's just... It's a bit confusing. Also, I've also put here, if you're bringing in the X-Men, weave them into the universe so they don't just bamf into existence post-Secret Wars. Yeah. So you can have Charles and Magneto maybe mention the blip, or have Wolverine like meeting Cap, like Logan one specifically. Make them feel that, like, you can maybe even have Jean and Cyclops talking about
like
how they helped,
them in
how they maybe helped stop Thanos. Because it's a reboot universe, these events could have happened at different times, and it's like they have always been there.
Yeah.
They're not just like, oh, here's the X-Men now, we've got to... Like, I want a clean slate, but I want them to feel like they're part of the universe, not just, oh, they're here.
The only issue that I have with it, I don't disagree with you on it, but the only issue that I think you face in doing that is kind of like the same issue with when they introduced Isaiah Bradley in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the Cap 4 film.
Yeah.
Because in the show, they brought in Isaiah Bradley and claimed that he was the Cold War Captain America, and he had a fight with the Winter Soldier, but you never saw it. Right. So I would say that if you're going to bring in...
Well, you can have, like, maybe flashbacks.
You could, but I don't think they would do that.
No.
Especially, like, if you're just going to say, well, Cyclops and Jean helped defeat Thanos. We need to see it.
Well, you could. You could have that... you could... You know what you could... You know when they do the book flip at the start of the film?
Yeah.
You could have
that would be cool.
You could have that be them, like,
yeah, that would
scenes.
be pretty cool.
So my point 5... This one I've not really gone in depth on, but...
Oh, God.
I've gone...
I'm looking at it now.
Planet Hulk and World War Hulk.
This is taking
basically, I want Hulk to have a nice showcase and be made mean again, Because the point I've made is Cat 4 proved that people want to see an angry Hulk. So give it us. Like, you could maybe give us Maestro, but I think that I would rather see on Doom's Cabal in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense there. I want to see just an actual angry Hulk again and put him in a storyline where he's featured, because I think they've not done anything relevant with his character since Endgame. Like
I don't think they did anything relevant with him since Ragnarok.
No, it's mental.
Because like even in Infinity War and Endgame themselves, he wasn't really used at all.
Exactly. So
Not in any good way.
I think there's so much more you can do with that character, and those are the two films I think you can do it with, because that's like arguably his best storyline.
He created She-Hulk, John.
Yippee! The show that nobody likes, you mean?
You wait until I react to it. I'm gonna become a She-Hulk defender.
Oh no! I'll have to react to it with you, so I'll be here sighing along with you. So number 6, this one's a selfish one. I want more Punisher content. Admittedly, selfish pick. I just really fucking love the Punisher, and I
think we're on the way to it. To be fair,
I don't know whether that means a TV adaptation of some of the Max run, or, and this is ideally what I want, the pure mentalness of the Ennis run, like where he crushes Wolverine with the steamroller and shit. Because I want to see more of his interactions with other heroes, because it's always funny. And the point I've put here is he's a cruel, mean bastard, and I like that, seeing that conflict with more righteous heroes. Nate, I'm not saying he has to bitch people out like he does in the Ennis run. You can have it be like, is it in Civil War, where they basically call him an incel and shit like that?
Near enough, yeah. Captain America just calls him an incel, punches him, and kicks him out.
Yeah, like...
Which, I'll be honest, every time I've seen Punisher in anything that isn't named Punisher, he gets bitched out by somebody.
Like, I think, but there's like a lot of things to have those interactions with. But I would like to see them recreate that scene with Spider-Man and Punisher fighting the Russian, and Spider-Man's on the rooftop and he keeps getting flipped away. Right, this one I think you'll like. My point 7. Young Avengers. I want to see, because I don't know a lot about the Young Avengers, but
I have them tattooed on my arm, so they must be good.
What you've told me about them, I want to see those stories. I've even put a point here. You could start the relationship with Billy and Hulkling, because it would break the brains of the online alt-right comic fans who always complain about wokeness, and since it's in the comics, they can't say that they're changing anything.
You know what? I see all the time, like, oh, Marvel are introducing Hulkling in the next phase or whatever, and in the comments, people say, like, oh, I hope they don't make this Hulk gay.
It's like, have you read do you know who he is?
He's not a Hulk.
He's not a Hulk.
And he is gay.
So yeah, I think it'd be cool to have, because we're getting a new Avengers, it'd be cool to have a second Avengers ensemble cast, and you could get their relationships, and then you could bring them all together for big team-ups. Plus, like, the young Avengers, like, they're more fresher characters, so that's a completely new thing that not a lot of people will know unless they read the comic.
We've introduced 3/4 of them anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know any of them. So that'll be like nice to go and see this new cast and get acquainted to them, and I'll probably enjoy them, because like,
based off of the humor that we've just seen in Thunderbolts, you will enjoy the humor that they've already established.
Yeah, and it sort of ties into my point 8, which is reunite Wanda, Vision, and their kids. Just because I think there's a lot of cool storylines you can tell with them as a family.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you do that in Secret Wars or you do it post Secret Wars, but there's definitely a lot of story there that you can dive into.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting moving towards Secret Wars IRL, because like, we're getting Wonder Man later on this year. And in the comics, Scarlet Witch creates Wonder Man and has a love triangle between Wonder Man and Vision.
Oh, dear.
So, I don't know if they're going to do that.
No.
But Yahya Abdul-Mateen is playing Wonder Man, and he's brilliant.
Okay.
He played Black Manta, and
it's him!
He played Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen show.
That's cool.
He's really good at acting, though, and I'm very excited to see him.
Right.
So I hope that there is... Oh, God, that's a big paragraph. And I've seen some words in it. Oh, fucking hell, it's 2 pages. Right,
so these are my last 2 points. I flip-flop between doing them in a different order, because I think this one's more important for what the next phase could be.
Yeah.
And the next one's just very selfish. But I ended up going with... I put this one at number 9. So, The Maker at number 9.
Okay.
Give me The Maker. Personally, I want it to be the Miles Teller version from the Fantastic universe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you introduce him in Secret Wars.
You're not interested in a Pedro Pascal version.
Well, you could do that, but I prefer this version of... You can do this version of... his version of Reed, who's a bit more cold, but at the end of the day, he means well. Whereas, like, the Miles Teller version definitely came across like he's doing this for selfish means. Like, what he goes into the end zone for a selfish purpose. He wants to be the first there.
Yeah.
And it plays more with the ultimate version of his character, who does then become the Maker. And I think you can then have him maybe in Secret Wars when they're rebooting the universe. He somehow rewrites himself into the unit, so he's a constant. And he can't be erased. He has to be there as a linchpin sort of thing. And you also make him a massive threat. Like, that has to happen. He's an Avengers level threat, multiversal level threat, and you treat him as such.
Yeah.
And I think he's just a really, really cool character. He's really cool, like an evil Reed Richards. That's sick.
Yeah. Right, here we go.
So,
the big one, number 10.
Introduce Norman Osborn. So whether that's through Dark Avengers or Green Goblin, although like the reason the Dark Avengers fails in the comics is because he goblins out, and I think you can't really do that. You can't really do the end of that without the Green Goblin.
Yeah, but you've got to go Goblin rehab, Goblin
but
out.
Just give me the Green Goblin and tie him into Spider-Man's backstory. So, because he's been there, and so Spider-Man then knows not to trust him when he starts his because he doesn't call them the Dark Avengers. It's just his own Avengers. The comics are called Dark Avengers, but it's just his. So he knows he's up to no good doing it, and show me that the descent into madness becoming the Green Goblin. Like, give me the storyline where he gets amnesia after the first reign, because that's how you can set it up. So, like, my idea is you do a Spider-Man movie with Goblin. The end of that, he gets knocked out, or like he gets or something happens, and he forgets his crimes as Goblin.
Yeah.
And then you can go into a Dark Avengers. This isn't like one after another. This is over like a course of years.
Yeah.
But then you can go into like a Dark Avengers movie where he sets it up thinking he's in the right. And then at the end of that, he remembers who he is and like freaks out and goblins out. And then you can do a death of Gwen Stacy. It doesn't have to be Gwen Stacy. It could be anyone. But you do the death of Spider-Man's girlfriend.
The death of Zendaya.
Because it could do.
I would kill Ned.
No, he's becoming Hobgoblin.
I would like to. Oh God!
But you have him get the amnesia, and he doesn't know what he did as Goblin. But he starts the Dark Avengers. You say he's doing it for right, but no, it's for selfish means. Because at the end of the day, Norman Osborn's a bad person. He's not a good person. It's not a split personality that the Goblin does all the evil. No, Norman Osborn is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Just the Goblin makes him insane, and then you can have him . So he says Spider-Man thinks he's cured because he's got this amnesia. He's like, as long as he doesn't remember, he starts Dark Avengers, Goblins out, kills his girlfriend, and then dies. Like the comics, he gets killed by he doesn't get killed by Spider-Man. He gets killed at his own hand.
Yeah.
Like in the Raimi movie, and it'll play very similarly to that Raimi movie.
Yeah.
That's the story. And he dies at his own hand, and then that can set up
Does he get impaled with his glider?
Yeah, he gets impaled with his glider. Not in the dick like in the Raimi movie. He gets impaled in the chest. And then you can have Harry blame Spider-Man and do that whole thing, and that sets him up to become the new Goblin. Not like the new Goblin from that movie. He becomes the new Green Goblin. He puts on a green Goblin
suit. Not the R.I.P. James Franco Goblin.
No. But I've made a point here. So that's all.
You've made several.
I think that's all about these movies. That's where he goes after Spider-Man and his loved ones, resulting in the death of Spider-Man's girlfriend. That could lead to Harry becoming either a new Green Goblin or potentially a Hobgoblin, because that story's messy anyway, like the original comic one. So it might make it easy just to plop Harry into that position. But then you'd give us 3 solid movies with the character, and it'd give Spider-Man a villain from his universe to actively hate, and you could give us the tease of Holland Spider-Man getting angry. Give us more, because that scene in that new Spider-Man movie where he's got the glider above his head, and it's he's gonna kill him. It's I want to see more. You can recreate the scene in the comic where Spider-Man beats him near to death, and then oh fuck, I've killed someone, and then he's alive and then impales himself. But that's about the Dark Avengers. I've put here that I know I'm being selfish because outside of Joker, Scarecrow, and maybe Reverse Flash, Green Goblin's my favourite villain, and I don't think he's quite ever been done right. Because the 2002 movie borrows more from the animated series, which is one of my favourite interpretations of the character, but it's not quite right. Also, the motorcycle helmet nonsense,
the Power Ranger outfit.
Yeah, I've come around to it as a modern revamp of the classic look, and it's a bit nostalgic, but I want to see it with the proper mask and the proper characterization from those original comics. Or actually, a better example, because I've not read a lot of the original comics. I've read bits of them. The Spectacular Spider-Man adaptation, that does a perfect version of what I want to see.
Yeah.
Where he's Norman's fully aware of what he's doing and is manipulating everyone around him to get away with his crimes. Like, from like his son to Peter, because Norman is an irredeemable person. Like, he frames his son for his crimes, who's like hooked on drugs, and he knows he's hooked on drugs. He frames him for his crimes, breaks his own breaks his son's ankle to like so he has a matching limp to him, and like he's a monster. He's a flat out man. He knows what he's doing, and I don't think we've seen that version in live. Like the 2002 one sort of does it a little bit, but I don't think they go far enough.
Yeah.
And I definitely think like they then sorted that in like No Way Home, so it's a split personality. And it's like, no, Norman Osborn's like a monster, and I want to see this version who knows he's fully what he's doing, who's intrinsically responsible. He becomes like a crime boss just because like he wants to control crime. And
not so much like a dual personality, but more so using the Goblin to his advantage.
Yeah, the Goblin's like the one who can like deal with like the crime, like the kingpins and that. He can like fraternize with them, and then Norman Osborn can save face and be like a good like a politician sort of thing.
Yeah.
He can like do like the public facing thing, and the Goblin does the underbelly stuff, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, you could do the ultimate version. Don't do the ultimate version. I don't want a Hulk Goblin. But yeah, like that's my number one. I
Hulk Goblin.
Yeah, have you seen the ultimate version?
No.
It's like a Hulk Goblin who was like on fire.
Is that the version that was in the Miles Morales film?
Yeah, sort
days.
of. The it's a bit different. He looks more like a Hulk in the Ultimate Comics, like a lot more like a Hulk. And he like his goblin bombs aren't goblin bombs; they're fireballs. He shoots out of his hand. But yeah, I've tried to cut that down because I did like ramble on. Like I'll leave it with you. You can read it, and you can probably like pull images from what I'm talking about. So I've just streamlined it. But definitely, like, I want to see an irredeemable Norman Osborn who Spider-Man can fully hate. Like, he's not a character who he can save. He's not a character who Spider-Man can help get better. Norman Osborn can't be saved and won't be saved. Refuse to be saved. He would rather die than be saved, and that's what ends up killing him. Because
is there like, out of all of your points, would you say that you want like justice for Norman Osborn more than like any of the other points?
Yeah, because like
so 10 is your crescendo point.
Crescendo is like that's why I was like I'm gonna put this at my last one because it's the one I feel most passionate about.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
It's a character I really like. I think, and particularly if they do and like bring some of those aspects from the Spectacular show into live action, it'd be really cool. And you have a really like a hateable villain.
Yeah,
a really hateable villain. Like, and I don't think we've quite got that with Spider-Man villains in the modern movies. No one's hateable. I think a lot of them are redeemable, and I want this version who's not. Like, who's just not. Like, he kills, like, his girlfriend just out of spite when he remembers who he is, because he blames him for the amnesia that he gets, and then, like, just kills his girlfriend just because he can. He knows who he is. Like, you have him find out who he is in that first movie, gets the amnesia, and then it would, like, play like a ticking time bomb. Like, Norman Osborn's a ticking timer. You know he's going to go off, and when he does, it's just going to cause, like, abject misery to everyone around him who's ever wronged him. And the first person who feels that is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he knows who Spider-Man is. You can even, like, have him, like, gobbling out at the end of the Dark Avengers movie, and then the whole next one is him, like, remembering. Like, you can recreate those, like, creepy scenes, like, where he's alone in, like, Osborn, like, manor, remembering things slowly, and then it all pieces together. The things, like, everything slots into place, and he just goes and books Gwen Stacy or whoever his girlfriend is at the time and just lobs her off a roof. Like, you can, and it's great. It's brutal and cruel, and it's like, yes, I want to see that version of the Goblin.
So to recap, your 10 points:
soft reboot.
Yep.
Don't bring back Iron Man.
Yep.
New Doom.
Yep.
Younger X-Men.
Yep.
Planet Hulk and World War Hulk.
Yep.
More Punisher.
Yep.
Young Avengers.
Yep.
Reunite, WandaVision, Wiccan, and what's the song called?
Speed.
Point 9, The Maker, and point 10, Norman Osborn.